Welcome, Wayne from Tucson. And what you have here is a perfectly sharp knife. It's a little Swiss Army knife. This is phone book paper. This is a piece of wrought iron. Now, a little duller than that. Yeah, this ain't gonna cut nothing. You have to push it. Yeah, it still ain't even. Yeah, this thing's staying sharp. Let's push hard. Roll that edge off there. So that's definitely dull now. That is extremely dull. Now I'm going to show you how to sharpen a knife. Now I'll take the knife that needs to be profiled, that's hitting it with the highest grit and removing a lot of material. We're going to take a marker, just any old marker. I prefer black ones. We'll try to mark just along the edge of the knife. And you're going to want to try to make it an even thickness along the edge. It's alright if it's a little sloppy. But yeah, you just want it to be right along that little rim that arcs down, and you want it to be the same width on each side. So you'll do each side of the knife. This is to make sure you're removing material evenly on each side and at each point in the knife. So you won't have, high spots over here and low spots towards the tip. So now that I'm ready to remove material from the bevel, I need to make sure I'm keeping my angle correctly. So as I remove the marker from here, when you pull the stone, you really want to get close like this to ensure that you're touching the very tip of your edge down on the stone that you're sharpening with. And then once you have found your stone, you get real close and you just pull slowly. Since you're new to sharpening, which I'm guessing you are since you're watching this video, you really want to take your time and make sure you're removing material evenly off of the black marker. And it really doesn't hurt to come back through with your black marker. Keep putting that edge back on, making sure you're still removing the correct amount of material. And this will get much easier over time. This is one of the knives I learned on. You'll see all the scratch marks. But it comes with time. If you don't have the feel for it, if you're new to sharpening, you're not going to be able to do this without looking at first. So keep an eye on this edge and watch it. A good trick I would use when I was younger, I'd take my nail, and if I could still catch the edge of the knife, then I wasn't quite have it on the stone. And slowly pull, making sure your marker is being removed where you would like, because this has to be the same length, same amount the whole way down the blade. Okay, so once we've mastered keeping our angle by the trick I showed you, checking with your nail using the magic marker, you're going to need to learn the burr. I recommend watching a YouTuber named Jay Davis. There's just lots of sharpening videos about the burr. You're going to want to keeping this consistent angle, checking, and you're going to want to pull straight back until you form a burr on the opposite side of the knife. You're basically going to remove enough material. You're going to bend some of it on the very end of it over to the other side. And the ways you can check for this are by feeling, just rubbing your finger, you'll feel a little tiny hair edge. Or you can take a Q-tip and run it backwards like you're sharpening over your knife, and it will pull cotton fibers out of your blade by the edge. And that's how you know you've established a burr. Some people will then remove the burr. Some people keep the burrs on and strop them off. I depending on the size of your burr, I do either or. One of the things that I'm doing when I draw the knife down the block is I touch the block with part of my finger, so it helps me actually keep a more consistent angle. Keep checking on my marker, make sure I get that angle right. Another little tip I want to give you guys is when you're first starting off, instead of counting your strokes, one side, the other side, it's good to, it helps you pay attention to your angles when you do one side at a time. Bring it this direction, then do the other side towards that direction. It also will refine your burr, so you won't have to remove it as much. Due to the fact that this was softer steel, I'm basically already done with my rough sharpening, profiling the edge. With harder steels like 440 and Sandvik that are cheaper, I'm not even going to go into S30V. You will spend a lot more time doing this stage when you need to. Just sharpening in general is a lot harder on those harder steels. That's why I recommend 8CR and stuff like that for when you first learn. I just took this off of this. This is just sandpaper on a block of wood glued down. I believe it's 180 grit. It's a sandpaper belt, 3M sandpaper belt. And this is the level of sharpness you'll get. It will not truly cut straight through phone book paper. This is the thinnest stuff. Yeah, it will roughly cut. And this thing is sharp. It is pretty darn sharp. I don't know if it will cut very seldom hairs, but it's pretty darn sharp for the average person. It's very difficult to see, but if you look right here, there's like light reflecting right off the edge. I can kind of push it away. That is the burr that you're looking for. It's a super thin piece of metal. That's just, a burr of metal. Now that we've accomplished that, the next step in the knife world, kind of underrated, stropping. This is crucial when you're knife sharpening. Get yourself a leather strop, a compound strop, any kind. I even made this sandpaper stone. It's just basically a sandpaper strop. There's various compounds, like this is black, green, and red. These are the most common ones. They are the best ones. This is coarse. This is very fine. This is the finest. So when you're using these, that's when you get your knife to that extra edge where they will shave hairs right off your arm. They will have those ultra bright edges and polished and all that good stuff. And you can buy much better things than just these cheapo compounds. There's such things as diamond sprays and different types of diamond stones that are wonderful for this, and ceramic stones too. Alright, now let's get stropping. Here I have a piece of wood. Since I did develop a large burr to show you guys, I'm going to just kind of cut into this, pull it, so it removes the extra like funky pieces of metal off. And honestly, you don't really have to do this very much. You can leave it on and just strop it off. I'll just take it just like with the stone. We'll keep my angle, make sure I get down real close to it. You know, if you got to put your face right here, then you got to put your face right there, don't you? Just get in close and set these abrasives and these compounds into the edges of these knives. When you're stropping, you don't actually need to use a lot of pressure. With knife sharpening at all, you're not supposed to use pressure. I understand that it removes more material, but just never use extra pressure. All it really does is ruin your stones, abrasives, and stuff like that when you're pushing hard. You'll just rub this, and don't use marker at this stage because it just rubs it off regardless. Your angle isn't as important with stropping, but you definitely want to look down and make sure that the fabric is at least covering the edge that you're trying to put the abrasives into. It's just polishing the edge, really, in simple terms. For newer people, you know, go back and forth like this, or, you know, do the 1, 2, you know, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you just do this a few times. Honestly, this is probably more than I even need it for black, because I'm going to take this up to a whole nother grit. But black sometimes is necessary for bigger burrs to have them removed. You don't want to do too much of an angle when you're stropping is the only problem. If anything, you do too less, because if you do too much, you will actually roll your edge over, and then you'll just strop it off and it will be a dull knife, and you'll be like, man, what did I do wrong? And you'll have to reprofile just to get a decent edge back. You might need to turn the knife a little weird, because you want to remove material at a straight edge. So if your tip is like this, you're going to want the knife, you know, at an angle to keep that equal bevel. So now that I've stropped with black compound or rouge, it's should be, yeah, see, it's already on newspaper, which is one of the best cutting tests there is. It should be, you know, shaving sharp. Yeah, that thing will shave hairs right off. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there's even my skin and my hairs. I'll do a close-up later of that. And that's just with black compound. This is the roughest one. Alright, so now that we've got a really nice edge on it, here's how we take it to the next level. There are different compounds for different materials, you know. Some steels like the green rouge better, but I prefer red rouge. It gives me one of the best edges. So let me switch to this and show you what it can do. See how I went a little too high that time? If I take my time and put more attention into it, when you're stopping, you're allowed to make little mistakes like that. It's more when you're using the stones when you have less leeway. Alrighty, now that thing is feeling ready. Oh, you're gonna see what city I live in. I better cover that. Give me some fancy duct tape. Yeah, here's the Tucson phone book. Let's take a paper out of it. Here's with the red rouge. And it just glides. I mean, really glides. That is an impressive edge. Right now I'll go and do a hair test, but yeah, here's some. Let's do a curve cut. There's a nice little curve cut. Do a thin cut. And this is just with sandpaper and a strop. Alright, so let's see if this thing will shave hairs. Let's see if we can put it actually in camera. I mean, it's just wiping the hairs away. That is ridiculous. I have a huge bald spot on my leg now. That's baby smooth. Alright, so here it is close up on my arm. That's pretty darn sharp, guys. The hairs glide off. I can't even feel the resistance. Also, I have more sharpening videos to come. If you think this is sharp, I have even sharper edges than this, and all for very great prices. If you check out my channel, subscribe, like, and share, help me grow, and stay tuned. You know, subscribe so you could check out some of the information I'm giving out. It's pretty useful.